All right, this next guy.
Not wearing a mask. Well, let me give you a news alert. Stop talking about a mask. It's all bull. He ain't wearing a mask because he know it's stupid.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversation Controversy. If you don't know by now, then you will eventually. The media is lying to you about everything. Nothing they say is without the lens of woke propaganda and how not to piss off evil women. With this show, our intent is to show you some trustworthy individuals that can deliver the news to you straight and more times than not give you news that you never heard about because it does not fit the Democrat Party narrative. This first one is out of Australia. It's Sky News. It's the closest thing we can get to a type of a network that kind of gives unbiased just news, good stuff. And especially they're hard on China because they're dealing with a lot of shit there in Australia with China. So they talk a lot about China and what China's doing, and it's bad, bad, bad. So here we go. Here's Sky News out of Australia.
China is getting more and more aggressive and dangerous. I know I keep saying this, but this is a real and present danger, and too many people are not wanting to acknowledge it. More people would be telling you the same, I think, if it wasn't for the fact that China's so powerful, so rich, so many business contracts to offer.
They're doing some bad things to women in captivity over in China. See, but with the one-child policy, they don't look too highly or too favorably on women at all, and they're doing bad things. And here's just a little bit of it.
They did whatever evil their mind could think of, and they didn't spare any part of my body.
Han Chinese men would pay money to have their pick of the pretty young inmates. My job is to remove their clothes and then handcuff them on their beds so they cannot move.
It is very obvious. Their goal is to destroy everyone, and everyone knows it. These women are done.
Now, this next segment is about an Australian citizen, and she was reporting on China to Australia, and she was arrested. And there's nothing Australia can do about it because they don't have the balls to do it.
The beauty of an Australian education is not about what is taught, but more about what it doesn't teach. It doesn't teach you to just follow orders. It allows you that freedom to think for yourself, to question.
She did question things last year. She questioned the way that Chinese officials had bungled the reaction to the coronavirus, covered up. And she wrote on her blog, "Serve the people," goes the slogans. Reality is the opposite. Well, 6 months ago, Cheng Lei was arrested. This trial will be a show trial, just like the ones Stalin used to stage in the Soviet Union. Oh, I think it's definitely sending a message. We can do this even to an Australian citizen, even to a mum with 2 children in Australia. We will do it even for something so trivial as this. So shut up, everyone. And you're quite right. You know, the world used to say, oh, we didn't know what Hitler was doing to the Jews. You know, we couldn't do anything back then. But the world does know, or should know, what China's doing to the Muslims there. No real outrage at all, just a few pro forma things, and it's getting away with this.
They arrested her right after Joe Biden was put in office, by the way. I think on the 22nd, maybe, of January. And there's going to be more of this because Biden doesn't care. Biden's paid by China. He gets money from China. So is his son and a lot of other stuff. So they're not going to say anything because Biden is bought and paid for. His morals go to whoever pays him the most money. He's a weak, weak man. And he's not going to say anything about any journalists or anything that gets arrested over there.
True international effort to pressure.
And China will continue to, gain more influence here in this country. He did open up there for a weird reason to work on our power
grid.
Our power grid.
The Chinese government is quietly invading our American electric grid.
I don't understand. Well, I do understand. It's money. It's always money. This next guy is Dan Bongino. If you don't know, Dan Bongino's pretty big. I mean, he used to be a cop. He ran for, was he a cop? Yeah, he was a former policeman, and he ran for a Senate or a Congress seat down in Naples, Florida. He didn't make it, but he has a very successful podcast on Rumble, and maybe it's BitChute, one of the two. I don't know. And here's some things he has to say.
All right, watch this video. So Shepard Smith, a former absurdity at Fox News, who's now doing horrible ratings, trying to regain his dignity over at CNBC.
I forgot about this. The theme to this kind of one is about masks. I'm sick of masks. We're down in Florida. We don't screw around with it. We think the rest of y'all's crazy for this mask stuff. I mean, the fact that in a wrestling meet, you can't shake hands at the beginning, but then you can go out and wrestle, that's dumb, and you all buy into it. Anyways.
Football players have to wear their masks on the sidelines, but then, they go out and they start tackling each other. They're not wearing a mask, but...
Basketball players, same thing. They can't shake hands at the end of the game, even though they've been out wrestling with each other the whole time with body on and everything. And to you, that makes sense. It doesn't make sense. Dan Bongino. Here's more of it. Mask. Craziness. Stupid. Here we go.
Shepard Smith ran a show, and, Joe, he's a tremendous investigative reporter, this Shepard Smith, and they cracked the story of the century. Joe gets to cheat again and see the video clips and audio before the show. So wouldn't you agree, Joe, this was the story of the century in Naples, Florida? They found something in a supermarket. This is it. This is up there with like the Lindbergh baby kidnapping. This is up there with, interviews on foreign soil of foreign leaders who've changed the world. Shepard Smith nails it on his discredited, failing CNBC show. And Tucker wants to give him some credit. They found some dastardly deeds happening in Naples, Florida, an area I'm very familiar with. I ran for Congress over there. Watch Tucker. This is about 1:50, but it's worth your time. Just give Shepard all the accolades he deserves for this incredible act of investigative reporting. Check this out.
We spend an awful lot of time beating up on journalists and the sorry state of journalism, but we don't want it to be all negative. Of course, we'll hold up the miscreants for abuse, but we also want to celebrate the good guys once in a while. And tonight we want to bring you the story of a genuine investigative journalist, a man who's been forgotten, cast aside like an Acosta when he really should be an Edward R. Murrow. And that's an injustice we plan to rectify right now. When everyone else was saying...
From the show that bought you triple masking, I was talking to a friend / family member here about, I said, you see they're talking about triple masking, and she wanted to fact check me, right? I might have said Fauci's talking about triple masking. She wanted to fact check me. Give me a break. They've been talking about it all over the place. She doesn't have a clue about this stuff, and I tell her that, and she wants to fact check me. They're all talking about triple masking now, and I think what I hear her say, now it's best just to wear the entire box over your mouth. A minimum of 9 masks. That's a joke.
You should wear a mask to protect yourself from the coronavirus. This man told you should wear 3 masks. Not just 1, 3. Bravery like that isn't taught. You're born with it. You got it or you don't. Well, last night, this same investigative journalist, now an anchor at CNBC, broke the story of a lifetime. If Pulitzer Prizes still mattered, and they don't, this would get a Pulitzer. You've seen the Zapruder film. You've seen the moon landing. You've never seen anything like this. Roll tape.
We all fantasize about a time when we won't have to wear the masks anymore. It's not now. But some at a supermarket in Florida appear to have decided that the time is now. Look at this. This was the scene at Oaks Farm Seed and to Table Market in Naples today. NBC's Sam Brock took this video, which went viral. It looks like it was taken pre-pandemic, right? Most customers and employees not wearing masks at all.
This was the scene. A woman smiled in a grocery store. Actually, it wasn't quite what we thought it was. We believe the hype, I guess. Maybe when you've spent 30 years reading scripts about car chases, everything seems like a car chase. The problem is not everything is a car chase. Sometimes it's just people smiling at each other in a grocery store. Sorry, overheated news guy. That's not actually news.
it's a funny thing about the mask. I got a little bit of a conversation with one of my relatives here recently that were down here visiting me, and they want to wear masks and everywhere. I said, we don't do that. We don't do that. That's only for tourists. You know, employees down here in restaurants and everything, they don't want you coming in to wear a mask because then they have to continue to wear a mask. The more people that come in not wearing masks, the closer they get to not wearing masks. It's the exact opposite. The more people that wear masks, the longer it will continue. The more people that don't wear masks, I mean, is this not common sense? I don't get it. And the fact that they're making fun, he's saying that's breaking news down in Naples. It lets me know a couple things. One, he's completely detached from reality if he thinks everyone down here is wearing masks, because we're not. We've had enough of it. And
isn't Naples like 80% of the population in Naples like over 65?
Probably 87% of the population is over 65.
They should be the most terrified, and even they said no.
Fear has gripped you. If you're wearing a mask out in public or out to a store, fear has gotten a hold of you, and fear can control your life. And fear is not of God. And if you let fear control your life, then you've got other issues. It's not just having a mask or wearing a mask or whatever, but fear has gotten a hold of you, and fear has grabbed a hold of this country. Fear has grabbed a hold of a lot of women in this country. Is that fair?
Yeah.
It's a problem.
I mean, we see people riding their bike down an empty sidewalk wearing a mask.
With a mask. I mean,
for who?
It's crazy. Earlier today, I went to open up the door for a gentleman, and he had a mask on, and I didn't. It was at a convenience store, and he wouldn't go in. He just said, no, man, I got it. I'm good. I was like, go ahead, brother. Like, he let me go first. I was like, no. And he didn't want to come near me. And
but he's going to touch the same door handle that you just touched.
Yeah, I mean, and he's going to get a surprise. It's a pretty busy Tom Thumb, and there must be 50 people in there with no mask on. He's going to get a little bit of a surprise.
I wonder how far he got in there and then turned around.
Right, turned around and walks right back out. Yeah, y'all can deal with this. Y'all are nuts on this mask deal. Now, this next one is called Front Page with Scott Goulet. Goulet. And he, just a dude in front of a camera, but he's very competent. He chooses his words very carefully, and he was actually demonetized by YouTube. Who knows why? Some lie that not that he gave, that YouTube makes up. And but it's got an air of legitimacy to it, and here he is.
After nearly a month of silence on social media, President Trump may be coming back in a big way. Former President Trump is considering launching his own social media platform. This is what his senior advisor, Jason Miller, told Breitbart News on Saturday. A number of things are being discussed, so stay tuned there, because he's going to be back on social media. We're just kind of figuring out which avenue makes the most sense. That big tech companies like Twitter, Facebook, and Google are 100% trying to control the information Americans see. In due course, this could be a big issue for them, something that only communist countries do. If you bought a Canadian magazine on Thursday, February 4th, you may have been surprised to find that the front page of the paper was blank. In fact, this was a protest action by the Canadian media against Google and Facebook. Google and Facebook have taken more than 80% of all digital advertising revenue in Canada, but refuse to pay media outlets that produce news content, leaving the traditional newspaper industry challenged or even on the verge of bankruptcy, because YouTube has officially demonetized us since January 20th.
Yeah, that
convenient timing.
Right, that was just added in there. But about I find it interesting that the newspapers in Canada, and I don't care. I mean, I really don't. I mean, if they couldn't see the writing on the wall 10 years ago that this was coming down,
yeah,
they're dumb, and they deserve the,
should have had a backup plan by now.
Right. And the thing is, nobody reads anymore. It's not because we don't want to have a local newspaper that produces good news. It's that they didn't produce good news. It all has a slant to it. Just report the news about local stories around you. That's where real investigative journalism happens. But it's all gone, it's all opened up to woke shit. Get woke, go broke. Now, this next one is, it's still, what's his name? Scott Goulet, but it's on sex trafficking, which is starting to get exposed around the country. you're hearing stories, you know, California here, there, the stuff. I assume with this, what's her name? You know, Ghislaine Maxwell, just something like that. Ghislaine Maxwell from Weinstein or whatever his name. Epstein. That this would start getting exposed, that they would start at the bottom and work their way up, which I just wish they'd go do it. I don't know how far it goes into our government. I know this much. Hunter Biden is a pedophile. I've seen the videos, and his dad is president. So I don't know what's going on, and this will be exposed. But Hunter Biden is a pedophile. Bad. Here we go.
I saw something interesting that I didn't know, that Trump was the first and only president to really take steps to help sex trafficking. Like, he opened up a whole other division, like created a new department to deal with it.
Yeah. I imagine Biden shut it down.
64 people were arrested and 2 women were rescued in an anti-human trafficking sting in California's Riverside County early last week. Jaco Bouyen, the founder of Share Together, credited President Trump with the results of this operation in an interview with NTD TV. He said former President Donald Trump's efforts to create an office dedicated to fighting sex trafficking made an incredible impact over the last 4 years. Bouyen said that before Trump, we never had an office in the White House designated and dedicated to fighting sex trafficking. No former president in the history of this country has used his or her platform to denounce the exploitation of children and then appropriate funding.
This next piece is a little bit about the Time news article. If you haven't read it, you should read it. It's amazing how blunt it is, how they just say they cheated to get the right outcome, the correct outcome, I don't know what they call it, on the election. And the thing that I gained that really perked up my ears was we hired millions of poll workers. And this goes back to before the election, the year before. It wasn't because of everybody thinks that they started changing things because of COVID. No, it goes back even further than that. But it accelerated after COVID. And now they got to put the genie back in the bottle. I don't know if they can do that or not. And well, anyways, check out the Time article if you get a chance. But here's a little bit about it.
The U.S. Supreme Court on Friday scheduled several high-profile contest of election lawsuits, including ones brought by attorneys Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood and the Trump campaign, for consideration at its February 19th conference. That the Times just ran an article which explicitly said there was a shadow campaign in 2020 that said their work touched every aspect of the election. They got states to change voting systems and laws and helped secure hundreds of millions in public and private funding. The issue of election results is something you can't talk about on YouTube or anywhere else. For example, I cannot repeat what is said in the Times article here, otherwise this channel might be removed. The article says powerful people ranging across industries and ideologies working together behind the scenes to influence perceptions, change rules and laws, steer media coverage, and control the flow of information.
They were even Republicans who backed impeachment because they were all in a circle whose interests are...
This guy is just a guy that worked with Doug TenNapel, like his, you know what I'm saying, you know, his on-the-ground reporter. And
Doug TenNapel?
Not Doug TenNapel.
Okay, yeah.
Scott, what was his name? Goulet. The last guy.
Yeah. The one we can't pronounce his name.
Right. This is just his guy that's on the ground.
Are posed to the general public.
I want to note that the article ends with naming Van Langeveld policy advisor and deputy legal counsel for the Michigan House Republican Policy Office and Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger as 2 of the key players in this saga. Let's see what will happen next.
This is Christina Bobb, a woman, and she's just an anchor for OAN. What does OAN stand for?
One America News?
Sure, works for me. She's good, and she talks about what's going on in Arizona with the, you know, they're looking into doing...
Oh, yeah, the audit.
The audit, which is not an audit. So don't believe what you hear. Here it is. I don't even know if we'll probably get in trouble. I got this off of Rumble or BitChute or something else. I don't know if I can even play this on. It's just facts. I don't know if I can play this on YouTube or not. We'll find out.
Right now, the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors in Arizona is actively trying to muddy the waters of the Arizona Senate's forensic audit. The supervisors have hired 2 companies to conduct a competing audit. Both companies have done work for Dominion in the past and appear likely to want to work with Dominion in the future. Neither company is conducting a forensic hacking examination to determine if there was information passed over the internet. Neither company is inspecting the legitimacy of the ballots, ranked choice voting, fractional voting, pre-loaded votes, the software loaded on the equipment, whether an algorithm was used, or whether USB drives or memory cards were inserted into the machine. Neither of the companies are examining the hardware, forensic images of the electronic servers or desktops, and removable media. The Maricopa County audit will not examine the files and logs of the tabulators, results pair resolutions, results files, provisional votes, RTM logs, SQL files, or signature verification. They are not checking the username and password of the machines, nor verifying whether anyone other than an authorized user accessed the machines. They are not checking the Windows software logs or voter rolls. And I still have 2 pages of bullet points of items that the Maricopa County audit is not inspecting. Yet, the supervisors and mainstream media will feed it to you as though it's a legitimate audit. It's not.
What are they checking?
Nothing.
Hey, come check out these machines.
Yeah.
Yep, those are machines. Okay, have a good day.
Yeah, they're real.
It's an attempt to muddy the waters on the real forensic audit that the Arizona Senate is trying to initiate. Just to make this more confusing, both the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors and the Arizona Senate is controlled by Republicans. It is the Republicans on the board that are working so hard to cover up the Maricopa County election. Why? What has become abundantly clear is that we are no longer divided by political party. Republicans and Democrats are all mixed together and we're both on both sides. The dividing line is truth and transparency. The dividing line is our Constitution.
It would be foolish to think that China, communism, Satan have infiltrated every part of our society and not infiltrated the Republican Party. What's going on there in Georgia with that clown? What's his name?
Warnock?
No, well, him. He's in on it, but they had the phone interview with Trump. He's got a light touch. That would be, anyways, it would be foolish of them to think that they have not infiltrated the Republican Party just as well. That's their goal, is to get everything, one party system. They're working on it and they're winning. That's what I want you to know, they're winning. This next guy is Brandon Tatum. He has a really neat thing called the Tatum Report, and it's tatumreport.com. And he refers to himself as Officer Tatum because he used to be a policeman. He played football in Arizona, and he
played football with Gronk, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he says he did. And yeah, I think, did Gronk come from Arizona? I don't know. But he does talk about Gronk. And I think he's talking about the Super Bowl. He talks about various subjects, but he's another one that's very good and you should pay attention to from time to time.
Let me start with Mr. Tom Brady. First and foremost, I did not think Tom Brady was the GOAT. Now, y'all can get mad at me, write me something in the comment section. I did not think he was the GOAT. I thought that Peyton Manning was the GOAT because he won the Super Bowl on 2 different teams. That's just me. I thought he was a sub-GOAT. But
GOAT is greatest of all time, if you don't know that. Everybody should know that, but I don't know.
It's a good thing. Yeah, greatest of all time. It's an acronym.
The reason why I watched this game, because I want to see was he going to come through with the hot sauce. And I haven't watched the Super Bowl in many years because they've been too much of SJWs. So I watched the game a little bit. I caught it at halftime. And Tom Brady showed up and showed out. He won a Super Bowl, again, more Super Bowls than any team as an individual player because he won on multiple teams. And he proved to the world that he's the best quarterback ever to play the game. Controversy with Tom Brady that I want to talk about is that people are mad at him because he had a picture on his profile or had a picture on his social media of him walking into the stadium not wearing a mask. Well, let me give you a news alert. Stop talking about a mask. It's all bull. Okay, now I got that out of the way. It's bull crap. He ain't wearing a mask because he know it's stupid. Does he have a mask on while he's playing in the game? No, he doesn't. Does he have a mask on when they sacking him on 3rd and long? No, he doesn't. Offensive linemen are hitting each other every play, banging heads. Not one of them have a mask on. Stop it with the stupidity. You know who's mad at him? The leftists. Why are they mad at him? It's not just the mask. It's because he was a Trump supporter. It's because he had a bag of hat in his locker, and that he's always been supportive of Trump. When they won the Super Bowl, he went to the White House. So did Rob Gronkowski. And shout out to Gronkowski. I played football with Gronkowski in college, and he was very hard to cover. I'm just saying. I was a safety, him being tight end. I had to cover him every day, and I lost a lot of those battles. Look, I don't want to hear Colin Kaepernick ever say nothing ever again. Colin Kaepernick can never say anything in. And everybody that said Colin Kaepernick not being in the NFL with racism, your brain is dead. Your brain's completely dead. Because even at the time, I knew that he wasn't good enough as a quarterback, and he was sitting on a bench at the time he started protesting. He didn't protest when he was a starter, and he did all this. He opted out of his contract. They didn't even kick him off the San Francisco 49ers. He opted out of a contract. Other teams had contracts ready for him, but he felt he should get paid more, so he set out of the NFL.
Do you know what they're talking about? Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure. Yeah, he's...
And because he's not good enough, they didn't want him back. Perfect example, Michael Vick went to prison for you-know-what with them dogs. And he came back and played in the NFL. So it ain't got nothing to do with race. And it's talent. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. This last little bit, he's just a guy, he's a vlogger who travels around the world by himself, has balls as big as I've ever seen before.
He's got to buy 2 plane tickets.
Right, just for him and the other one for his balls. He goes around these neighborhoods without any fear, and because fear hasn't got a hold of him. And he talks a little bit about fear here, and that's what I want to, maybe through the theme of this whole thing. Masks are for stupid, scared, fearful people. Stop with the mask. All right. It's a bunch of dumbness. Dumbness? We'll edit that. It's stupid.
It's probably going to start getting dodgy here at the nighttime. Who knows? I don't know.
He's in Colombia.
I also don't care. I'm not afraid. You guys are like, aren't you afraid walking around there? No, I'm not afraid. I'm not stupid, but I'm not gonna live in fear, because fear is a sickness. And you only limit your own life by living in fear. Don't be an idiot, but don't live in fear.